On Tuesday morning, the nominations for the 96th Academy Awards were released. 2023 was a pretty big year for cinema, certainly the strongest year post-2020. We had Barbieheimer, A New Hunger's Game, Priscilla, and Saltburn. Point being, this year's Oscar nominations were going to have a lot of buzz surrounding them. Oppenheimer emerged with the most Oscar nominations at 13, with Yorgos Lanthimos' Poor Things following up with 11, and Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon receiving 10, and yet it seems like the cultural conversation has abstracted around Barbie. Specifically about Greta Gerwig not getting a nomination for Best Director, although she did receive a nomination for Best Adapted Screenplay. There was also a lot of talk of Margot Robbie not picking up a nomination for Best Actress, despite Ryan Gosling picking up a Best Supporting Actor nod for his role as Ken. And while many are proclaiming these so-called snubs sexist and ironic considering the film's mainstream feminist messaging, I really don't think it's quite that black and white. First of all, Barbie still racked up 8 nominations at the Oscars, including Best Picture. And while Barbie was a good movie that grossed over $1 billion at the box office and received pretty warm reviews from critics and universal acclaim from audiences, we can't forget that it's a blockbuster movie. And while a movie being a major studio blockbuster doesn't automatically mean that it's worse or lesser than other films, we can't deny how commercial the film was as well, despite its feminist messaging. A huge reason Mattel licensed Barbie for the film was because they knew they'd sell 1 million dolls. Again, Barbie is a good movie, but so were a lot of other films released this year. Not every good movie gets every Oscar nomination, it's just not how it works. But I wanted to specifically speak to the point of people claiming that Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie not getting nominated was an ironic, sexist snub by the Academy. First of all, Margot still got an Oscar nomination since she's a producer for Barbie, which I think is important to mention. And while I am surprised Greta Gerwig didn't get a nomination, Nolan, Scorsese, Lanthimos, Trier, and Glazer all released films this year that were standouts. She had tough competition, and a lot of those movies were simply better than Barbie. And while Poor Things was directed by Lanthimos, who's a man, Poor Things was far more explicit and less 2014 BuzzFeedy in its feminist messaging, which nobody is talking about. Poor Things is a feminist film that genuinely feels transgressive, and Emma Stone's performance as the lead character, Bella Baxter, was far more complex and demanding than Margot's. Anatomy of a Fall isn't a film with explicit feminist messaging like Poor Things or Barbie, but Sandra Hüller's standout performance as a woman accused of murder also addressed patriarchy and misogyny in a far more complex and powerful way than Barbie did. Plus, Lily Gladstone's nomination for Best Leading Actress is the first time an Indigenous woman has been nominated in that category, which is insane. And again, while acting is all subjective, her performance as a woman whose family is being slaughtered around her and who's simultaneously being poisoned by her husband is a genuine standout performance. And this isn't Feminist Olympics. My point in all of this is that Barbie is a great movie with feminist messaging that appeals to a mass audience, but it's not the end-all be-all of feminism on screen. There was insane competition in the Best Actress category this year, and Robbie not being there is not a snub on the Academy's part in my opinion. A lot has also been made about the fact that Ryan Gosling received a Best Supporting Actor nomination for Barbie, but I don't see the problem with this. Gosling's portrayal of Ken was a genuine standout performance, and I know it's kind of an uncomfortable thing to say about a role in a movie that's about the power of women, but his role provided the movie with the bulk of its funniest and some of the most memorable moments. And Ryan Gosling is a good actor and he has the credentials to back it up. And we haven't even talked about America Ferrera's nomination for Best Supporting Actress yet. It's not a competition, but I think her nomination is well deserved. And it saddens me that the news of her nomination, her first ever, is sort of being swept aside for people to bemoan Margot's snub in the category. The day after the nominations, Hillary Clinton released some weird statement telling Greta and Margot that they were kenough, which I think just goes to show how performative and unserious this whole debacle has been. Barbie was not the only film released this past year that had women at the forefront, and people are ignoring other women who delivered far stronger performances. And this isn't a knock on Margot's performance either. I think her title role in I, Tonya was one of the decade's best, and also a far stronger film that incorporated the issues of class into its feminist themes. She absolutely deserved that nomination. Barbie, the world's still going to spin. And while I do think Gerwig not being nominated is slightly more surprising, it's been a competitive year for movies, and not every major blockbuster is going to sweep every category. At the end of the day, I feel like this whole debacle is just a whole lot of hoopla.